Good afternoon. Welcome to the 148th commencement ceremony for the 365 graduating members of the Topeka High School class of 2020. Would you all please stand for the posting of the colors by our THS Marine Junior ROTC Color Guard under the direction of Master Gunnery Sergeant Brad Stahlbaumer and Cadet Isabella James. Posting of the colors will be followed by the playing of our national anthem, sung by the THS Madrigals and Friends under the direction of Ashley Kaufman, THS Choral Director. Please be seated. Join us virtually to give today's welcome is Mr. Jack Murphy, Senior Class President. He will be followed with a performance by the Madrigals. The Student Director of the Madrigals in 2019-20 is Miss Ann Beal.
Hello everyone. 4 years ago, when I imagined myself graduating, fully bearded and standing 6 feet tall, it wasn't from the seat of my couch either. But as we've all learned, some things just aren't in our control. Nevertheless, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Topeka High's very first virtual graduation for the very special class of 2020. Yes, recent times have been difficult, but today is not a day to dwell on what could have been, but a day to remember the good, the bad, and everything in between from the class of 2020's last 4 years. Most importantly, it's a day to remember the people who helped us get through these times, who grounded us and gave us footing to walk the halls of Troy. On behalf of the class of 2020 and from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of those who have supported us through the good and the bad. Our teachers, family, friends, faculty, and most of all, my mom. It's been a unique 4 years, from food fights to water balloon fights to fighting the circumstances we face today. But it's been these times together that have made this class full of very special people, the only ones I'd ever wish to have the privilege of learning and growing and graduating with today. And with that said, for the last time, I want to say it's a great day to be a Trojan.
Something we must learn, and we are led. will it be that we may never meet again in this lifetime? So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend.
Like a ship blown from its mooring by the wind of the sea, like a sea drop, like a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
Because I knew you,
I have been changed for good.
and just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for.
But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you,
Because I knew you,
because I knew you, I have been changed.
Dr. Tiffany Anderson has been a public school educator for over 27 years, and the majority of that time has been as a superintendent. She has improved achievement in rural, urban, and suburban public school districts. In 2016, Dr. Anderson became the first African American female superintendent of Topeka Public Schools. Since Dr. Anderson's arrival, the Topeka Public School District won 2 of their 4 national first place Magna Awards for equity and innovation. Additionally, under Dr. Anderson's leadership, schools doubled their college course offerings, student attendance increased above 90%, ACT participation increased, achievement scores have increased across the district, and a district virtual school and mobile pantry was started serving thousands of families. Dr. Anderson's publications include her books on transforming schools, along with several articles on high-performing school cultures published in local and national magazines and newspapers. Dr. Anderson earned her undergraduate degree and her doctorate from St. Louis University in 2001. A second doctorate, the Doctor of Humane Letters from Eden Theological Seminary, for her service to the community and society. Dr. Anderson is an active member of the Topeka community, serving on boards, and is a member of several service organizations. An awarded educator, she was recognized as one of the top 6 people with purpose at the Oscars for her innovative work in education, earned a national recognition from Education Week as one of the nation's 16 leaders to learn from, and was awarded a Lifetime Achievement from President Obama for volunteerism. Ladies and gentlemen, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Tiffany Anderson.
Congratulations, 2020 graduates. While this is not the ideal format of me being on stage talking to you directly, it is a privilege to be here today to give you the congratulations and the recognition that you so greatly deserve. We're so excited that we were able to do our diploma distribution and now our virtual graduation ceremonies. Within this ceremony, I want to highlight just a few things about a variety of schools. Normally, I talk about one school specifically, But my goodness, we are all in this together. We are Topeka Public Schools. And as a Topeka Public Schools family, there are so many accolades over the course of this year that all of our schools have attained. As just one example, Topeka High, they made it to state with their basketball team, their girls basketball team, and their football team this year also continued to have a very good season. The undefeated girls weren't just the only ones this year that we celebrated. The academic scholars as well at Topeka High have continued to have a variety of awards throughout the course of this year. We are so proud of them. In fact, Topeka High has a student with a perfect ACT score in 2020. Congratulations to all of our T-High families. Topeka West as well has also had an amazing athletic season. Coach Bloomquist celebrated his 500th win as a coach. He's the only coach in this region that has accomplished that. The Governor's Scholars and the ACT Scholars as well at Topeka West are too numerous to list. We are so proud of Topeka West's continued success in a variety of areas. Topeka West has one of the highest graduation and ACT rates. His attendance rate is not only above 90% at this particular school for all of our Topeka West scholars, but the graduation rate is also at 95%. How many schools can say that? Congratulations to our Topeka West scholars. We also want to highlight our Highland Park Scotty Scots, where it's often said it is great to be a Scot. Every year, Highland Park has continued to improve upon graduation and attendance rate, and this year is no different. We are so excited to see the continued success at Highland Park. This year, the Highland Park boys basketball team also athletically continued to do very well and had an amazing season this year. Congratulations. So many teams making it to state in one school district is unique to Topeka Public Schools. Again, we are TPS. We are Topeka Public Schools. The Highland Park team also made their selves known in their selfless giving and serving, as many have seen throughout the community in the various food stations and mobile food drives that we've had throughout East Topeka, in part due to the Highland Park staff. We thank our students and staff for the service and congratulations on the continued accolades, both athletically and academically. Hope Streeters, where it's great to be a Hope Streeter. And Mr. Knoll also says, you can't beat Hope Street, which is so true. Both Hope Street and Cap City, where their motto is I Can, have shown that more students can graduate in our alternative programs than perhaps any school in the region. We congratulate Hope Street and Cap City for their increased graduation rate, their increased attendance rate. And this year in particular, Cap City will really make history in the graduation rate this year and the projected increase. We are so proud of all of our students. Whether you attend Topeka High, Topeka West, Hope Street, Cap City, Avondale West, or take classes at TCalc. Because of the collective energy and support, even through a pandemic, we've shown that we are Topeka Public Schools. A building doesn't make a school. Students make a school. Staff make a school. Because of you, this 2020 year is most memorable. Because of our seniors, we had a diploma distribution ceremony, and instead of walking across the stage, students drove across the stage because seniors helped plan that event. Because of our seniors, we were able to really involve students in making masks this year. We actually had a senior at TCalc who made 3D masks at TCalc in the midst of the pandemic to give back to others. Because of you, we are able to show that we can engage, prepare, and inspire not only our students for a lifetime, but others. So congratulations to our 2020 graduates. I ask you to remember next year and in the years to come that you are part of something so much bigger than ourselves. You are part of Topeka Public Schools. Continue to engage, prepare, and inspire all around you for a lifetime. Congratulations.
Dr. Scott Mickelson is a native of Manhattan, Kansas, where he attended Manhattan High School. He attended college at Kansas State University, where he received a BS degree and a doctorate in veterinary medicine. He practiced for 5 years in Kansas City and returned to school at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical School, where he completed a postdoctoral fellowship in comparative pathology. He currently is the attending veterinarian at Hill's Pet Nutrition. Dr. Mickelson has had 2 children graduate from Topeka High School and has served on the Topeka Board of Education since 2013. It is my privilege to introduce the president of the Topeka Public Schools Board of Education, Dr. Scott Mickelson.
Happy graduation and congratulations to the class of 2020. As we gather today, apart from each other, I am thinking about this community, the students we are recognizing, and the people who have contributed to this milestone in our graduates' lives. The gatherings and collaborations and networks of folks who aren't in one room or in one building or on one stage today, but have been gathered for years, helping us get to this day and are huddled around us now at this moment, celebrating. I represent one part of that community, the Topeka Public Schools Board of Education. Our school board is with you today. We captured their pictures before we had to social distance. On the back left is Dr. Richard Bonebrake, then is Dr. Michael Morrison. Next to Michael is Mr. Lalo Munoz, then Mrs. Sue Boley, and on the far top right is Mrs. Melanie Stewart Campbell. On the front row, sitting on the right of Dr. Anderson is Reverend John Williams, who serves as our board vice president. I'm the bald guy on the front left. We are here with many others in the Topeka community, this group of people educating, coaching, supporting, developing, feeding, listening to, and cleaning up after our graduates. The families, friends, teachers, coaches, administrators. The audience is large, it's far and wide. This group has been guiding us all to this day. Here we are as a community, gathered together, but not close together, to celebrate a milestone, to celebrate the class of 2020, and send our students out into our community as graduates. This isn't the gathering we expected. We aren't having the celebrations we'd hoped for. In this strange time, we think a lot about what we've lost, the milestones we aren't getting to celebrate the way we want most, the tradition of walking across the stage, hearing our name announced, hearing the applause, meeting with many other fellow graduates and families in a big building with a big crowd, with hugs and with parties. We feel a loss. But let us focus on what we have gained. We have gained the class of 2020, a group of impressive doers, thinkers, innovators, students who are resilient, creative, persevering, young people who are capable of community across town, who connect through wires and satellites and screens and hearts and minds. Students who can Zoom and Skype and Duo, who see more clearly than any other class with 2020 vision, the global community, the connections across land and sea and outer space, young people who are sharing their milestone moment with other graduates across the globe, celebrating in this very same way. The class of 2020 who sees the value in myriad varied connections, who finds ways to show each other they matter without looking in each other's eyes, face to face or in giving hugs, but sending emoticons or memes or words of connection, encouragement, and support. The class of 2020 who sees clearly the state of the world, the difference that small, silent, thoughtful connections can make to restoring health, to learning, to improving mental health, the collaborations that lead to innovations in medicine, science, logistics, and communication. The class of 2020 has exercised skills in flexibility, determination, and grit. These are lifelong skills. This class has practiced, they have gained expertise. Graduates, you may look back on this day as graduates do and remember the milestone, the accomplishment amid the backdrop of uncertain times, of global challenges, the celebration and ceremony that took place in living rooms and on screens. And I hope you, the class of 2020, remember the community, the strength of this community all around you. Today, I hope you will think of what you have gained, of the community you have created, and look ahead to the community you will build, the connections you will create, the differences you will make. Your rearview mirror is small, just a few inches across. A few memories will linger. Your windshield is larger, your view ahead is wide and deep and broad and bright. With 2020 vision, the view ahead includes a growing, vibrant, forward-looking community. Congratulations, graduates. Enjoy that view.
As a part of the commencement program that graduates and families will receive, you will find an extensive listing of the scholarships and awards reported by the class of 2020 located just after the listing of our graduates' names. If the requirements and renewal standards for these scholarships are maintained, the total awarded to our students will be more than $5.2 million. This is a testament to our students, their families, and the staff not only at Topeka High School, but at each school these students have attended. At this time, I would like to recognize the teachers and staff of Topeka High School for the hours of dedicated service to our students, and especially to this year's graduating class. I would also like to thank their middle school and elementary school educators for the part they have played in the journey of the class of 2020. The successes of these students speak to the many people in our school system and the community at large who, through their mentorship, have invested in the post-secondary aspirations of this wonderful group of young men and women. Please look for the Topeka High School advertisement in the Topeka Capital Journal on Sunday, May 17, 2020, recognizing the high academic accomplishments of the class of 2020. And now for the presentation of academic honors for our seniors. 3 students are being recognized today as valedictorians for the class of 2020. These students must have taken advanced level coursework that leads to a weighted grade point average in excess of a 4.0, and additionally must have accomplished the very difficult feat of maintaining no grade lower than an A during their entire high school career. As such, the unweighted grade point average of each of these students is a perfect 4.0. Our valedictorians are Irene Caraccioni, Calvin Height, Trajan James. The Outstanding Senior Award is presented to the student who combines oratorical skill with high academic accomplishments, involvement in school-based activities and organizations, and participation in outside organizations and community service. This student is selected by a committee of 14 staff members who view and vote for this senior in isolation from one another, and the winner is selected through a 2-part process. The first phase is the written speech submitted without a name attached and is followed by finalists presenting the speech and submitting a list of their academic and extracurricular accomplishments. 40% of the vote is based on their speech and its presentation, and the other 60% is split between academic accomplishments and in-school and outside school involvement. This year's finalists were Caitlin Brown.
Sometimes you'll be full of fear, like your first day of high school, but other times you will feel like jumping in the middle of the cafeteria at the end of the school dance, screaming the chorus of Don't Stop Believin'.
Trajan James.
Advocate for yourself and advocate for others. Be the change that you want to see. Graduates, you are all destined for greatness, and I know each and every one of you has the power to change the world.
Caden Matney.
I've seen a generation eager and patient even to step in waters of history and change its course. Barack Obama, May 14, 2012. Class of 2020, our waters are rushing and it's time to interfere.
Erica Silva.
Wherever this path of life may take you, never forget these people sitting around you and all the memories we shared. And even if no one believes you can do something, don't grow concerned, because I myself, along with the rest of your class, got your back. I know we will always bleed black and gold and never forget who we met in the halls of Troy and what we accomplished while a Trojan.
It is my honor to present this year's outstanding senior, Mr. Calvin Height.
Yes, sir, we've come a long way since 2016. When we started high school, Vine was still a thing, Patrick Mahomes was playing college baseball, and the world barely knew what an infinity stone was.
Throughout today's virtual commencement video, we will be sharing the names of our graduates. This is our first group.
On behalf of myself and the Division I team of Miss Pat Bordewick, Miss Deb Fallon, and Miss Norella Munoz, congratulations, Division I seniors.
Presenting Miss Irene Caraccioni, valedictorian, as our first speaker today is Mr. Sam Schumann, THS Social Studies teacher.
I'm privileged to introduce Topeka High School's valedictorian for the 2020 graduating class, Irene Caraccioni. Traditionally, in such an introduction, it's expected to list all of the graduates' accomplishments. In regard to Irene, there are too many to list, but among the achievements of note are: Irene had the highest grade point average I had ever seen in my 25 years of teaching. Irene was liked and respected by her peers, being elected to offices in student government, and chosen by her squad mates to leadership positions on the debate and forensics teams. And most importantly, the highlight would be that out of 1.3 million students nationwide who opted to compete, Irene was one of about 7,500 students to win a National Merit Scholarship this year, the first at THS in about a decade. But knowing Irene, I realize these things are not what she wants her introduction to discuss. Thus, I will speak from the heart and tell you about just who Irene is as a person. When I first encountered Irene Caraccioni, I thought she was too intense. She ran from class to class, she asked question after question, and most of all, she worked hard. Harder than any student I have ever seen. No matter what a teacher asked of her, Irene never complained. She never had a negative word to say about anyone or any demand placed upon her. She just kindly smiled, put her head down, and did what you asked of her, and more. Far more. In time, I slowly realized that Irene wasn't too intense. She was just passionate. Passionate about life, education, and those around her that she loved. She believed that she should be the best person she could be, not just for herself, but for everyone she encountered. I came to love Irene's passion and humanity, and to be honest, it revived a passion in me to teach and try to become a better person. I can never thank her enough for the impact she has made upon my life. I'm a better teacher and a better person for having had the opportunity to work with and learn from Irene. The halls of Troy will not be the same without her to brighten them. Thus, I am proud to present to you a young woman whom I respect and whose passion I admire. Topeka High School's valedictorian for the class of 2020, Irene Caraccioni.
Over the course of these past 4 years, Topeka High School has offered us much more than an intellectual environment, a community of supportive people, and friendships that will last a lifetime. Topeka High has offered us a home. We've all experienced at some point or another Mr. Johnson yelling in the cafeteria. We've dealt with the upperclassmen link crew leaders struggling to contain us as freshmen. And unfortunately, many of us have had the embarrassing experience of falling up or down the stairs. And now, we are all ready for the moment we've been waiting for since we've set foot in the halls of Troy, graduation. Sadly, this is not the way any of us expected it to end, but we made it, and nothing can diminish that accomplishment. Arguably the most important thing Topeka High has been able to offer us is a place for personal development. We were able to venture into new experiences, learn from our many mistakes, discover more about ourselves, and ultimately grow as individuals. Many people know I was involved in debate throughout my 4 years in high school. In debate, there are two sides, the affirmative and the negative. Both sides have equal time to present their arguments and respond to the other side. This creates a sort of balance within the debate round, where one force is not dominant over the other, but rather the arguments complement each other to come to a final conclusion. People can tell you that I can sometimes be a bit intense. My first 2 years, fellow students could have pointed me out as the girl who ran down the hallway from one class to the next. Girls from the swim team may remember my sophomore year, I printed off my forensic speech and put it in a Ziploc bag so I could read and memorize it while doing kickboard drills in the water. Given my intensity, it was no wonder that when I dedicated myself to something, I worked hard at it. And for me, this happened with debate. My sophomore year, I had the goal of qualifying to nationals. When that didn't happen, instead of giving up, I worked harder, reasoning I could qualify that following year. I spent hours locked in my room working only on debate. I slept little, sacrificed friendships, and developed an anxiety problem. When the national qualifying tournament came around my junior year, I again failed to qualify. After this happened, I started to reevaluate how and why I was allocating my time in the way I was. I realized that while debate was important, it was not worth sacrificing my entire life over, and it didn't have to be. I could remain involved while also taking a step back. So that's exactly what I did. I continued to debate while also making sure to remember the other parts of my life, my other responsibilities, my friends and family, and my self-care. While my story may be unique and a bit extreme, the experience of becoming engulfed in a certain issue and losing focus on what's important in life is not. Sometimes what drives us to act is external pressure, pressure from parents to get good grades, pressure from teammates not to be let down, pressure from coaches to outperform, or pressure from friends to fit in. Sometimes it's internal. We want to prove to others or to ourselves that we are better, that we can accomplish whatever it is. And most times, unfortunately, this pressure is out of our control. How we react to it, however, is a different story. Striving to achieve balance is something we can all work towards. We are all entering a new phase in our lives, one that is filled with many uncertainties and many responsibilities, but also many opportunities. We will be faced with new pressures and new challenges. It's important to try to stabilize all the new experiences to come, balancing our wants and needs, our school, work, and personal obligations, our family and friends. What constitutes as a balanced life for one person may be completely different than what constitutes for the next. Balancing means figuring out what is truly significant in our lives. It means knowing what to prioritize and when to stop and take a break. Our lives should be more than just narrowly focusing on one issue at the expense of other considerations. Because if we fail to appreciate the opportunities and responsibilities we have around us, we will surely come to regret it. The class of 2020 has grown immensely these past 4 years at Topeka High. We started as timid, puny freshmen, and now we are ready to graduate. We learned, we matured, we created unbreakable bonds, and we dealt with the unprecedented. For all the developments we went through, I am grateful, but our lives are just beginning. And though we will all go our separate paths, we will be connected and having all started out in the halls of Troy. We will continue to navigate through challenges. We will continue to learn, and we will continue to overcome just as we have done before. In debate, there are a lot of things you cannot control. Your partner's preparation, your opponent's arguments, or the judge's biases. The one thing you can control is the actions you take in the round. Similarly, there are a lot of things we will face in the future that we won't be able to control, the external influences. But one of the things we do have control over is whether or not we want to take the opportunity to work towards something better, to make ourselves better. The balance in the debate round doesn't come until the final second, when both teams have had equal amounts of time to speak and argue with the other side. I still have work to do, a lot of work to do, before my life stops resembling a tilted scale and instead resembles one at equilibrium. It's rare, even for someone much older than ourselves, to have achieved a balanced life. This is something to strive for, but it's okay to not have gotten there yet. It may be difficult because of the circumstances we are in. Many may not have had the chance. Our responsibilities and obligations have placed us all at varying starting points on this continuum. But if the opportunity arises, part of this time in history and in our lives can lend itself to continued work on striving for balance. We have become better versions of ourselves in these past 4 years, and we will only continue to grow and improve in the years to come. It's been a wonderful time, and I wish you all the very, very best. Congratulations to the class of 2020.
To present Mr. Calvin Height, Outstanding Senior, and our second speaker today is Mr. Eric Bradshaw, THS Band Teacher.
It is my privilege to introduce the 2020 Outstanding Senior, Mr. Calvin Height. I met Calvin almost 4 years ago when he showed up for the first day of summer band as a somewhat quiet, shy, scrawny little short kid. I can tell you he is no longer quiet nor shy. Certainly not as scrawny as he was then, and not quite as short. That being said, Calvin stands tall amongst his peers as someone that took advantage of all the halls of Troy have to offer. This includes academics, athletics, music, and the social aspects. He is a natural leader, and I have no doubt this will continue far beyond the classes, fields, and stages of Topeka High School. I had the opportunity to introduce a graduating senior 2 years ago, and I would like to quote something from what I said then. A TI Trojan has a tenacity second to none and is unwilling to be stopped. A TI Trojan is dedicated to their mission, their friends, and their school. A TI Trojan has the heart of a champion. A TI Trojan is comfortable being him or herself, but is also willing to step out of their comfort zone to help someone that might be a little different. A TI Trojan is proud of and true to their school, but even more importantly, proud of and true to who they are. A TI Trojan is a winner. Calvin Height is a TI Trojan. Calvin, it has truly been my privilege to have taught and worked with you over the last 4 years, and it is my honor to introduce you as the 2020 Topeka High School Outstanding Senior. Congratulations.
Over the past 4 months, our lives have been flipped upside down. COVID-19 has changed our lives in ways we never thought possible, so much so that it has completely consumed our rhetoric and focus. Every conversation I had on the ski lift over spring break, every phone call to my grandma, every Zoom session with my teachers, when I'd get up for them, have all been engulfed in the panic and adversity of the times. So, naturally, I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to talk about us. We aren't like a lot of high schools in Kansas. We didn't grow up one big, happy class in one grade school and one middle school. We came from all over town, from all different backgrounds, and we possess many different talents. The football team had over 30 seniors this year, and the band had just as many. We are athletes, artists, actors, mechanics, mathematicians, and musicians. We came from Landon, Jardine, Eisenhower, Chase, Robinson, French, Mosbyr Hart, Topeka Collegiate, and more. But what we have done together is grow up. When we entered the halls of Troy, we were big-eyed, scrawny little 14-year-olds with barely a clue what those halls had in store for us. Yes, sir, we've come a long way since 2016. When we started high school, Vine was still a thing, Patrick Mahomes was playing college baseball, and the world barely knew what an infinity stone was. Back in 2016, we hadn't made all those mistakes, hadn't learned all those lessons. We hadn't taken a Schumann test, written a Sigler essay, or dissected a pig in biology. We hadn't heard the beat of the drumline, cheers of Friday Night Lights, or rhythm of the step team. We hadn't made the friends, the relationships, and the memories. We were kids. And now, most of us are old enough to vote, take out loans, and even join dating apps. When I got to Topeka High, I weighed 130 pounds, had a 2008 Justin Bieber haircut, and knew way too little about talking to girls. I had never scheduled my own doctor's appointment or taken a girl on a date. I hadn't even driven a car yet. But by August, I'm going to be a full-time college student, living in a big city, taking big boy classes, and figuring out how in the world to grocery shop. That kid who wore Axe body spray the first day of high school can now do calculus, swing a golf club, be confident about my appearance, and even talk to girls. I'm willing to bet most of you could tell me a similar story. Maybe you overcame your biggest fear, failed in front of your peers, asked out your crush, or worked your first job. All of us have taken a huge step towards becoming who we will turn out to be, but the brightest years are still ahead of us. When we finish this commencement, we enter the next chapter of our lives, which will be just as diverse as our last ones. Many of us will continue on to college, whether it's to play a sport, fulfill a childhood dream, or simply take one step closer to a secure future. Others will go to vocational school, join the military, start their own business, or support their loved ones. Some of us will travel the world, and some of us will change it. We all have an uphill battle to fight, but there's no saying where it will take any of us. But one thing we have right now is that we are graduates of Topeka High School. We have come to rely on each other. Maybe not everyone, but there is someone in this class that you can rely on. And the only thing that can take that from us is us. So while the beginning of my speech has been reminiscent, the end will be a plea. Please do not forget all that we have accomplished together and the roots from which we have come. Please do not forget the relationships and the memories that we have made. And please, please do not forget what it means to be us, because we have made it through this thing together, and it is only that same way we should carry ourselves into the future.
On behalf of myself and the Division II team of Mrs. Angela Lewis, Miss Alicia Rivera, and Miss Norella Munoz, congratulations, Division II seniors.
Before moving on with our ceremony, I just want to extend my personal congratulations to the class of 2020. In my 4th year back at Topeka High School as principal, you are my first freshman class, and I've been privileged to watch you grow into the young ladies and young men who will now depart from THS, having left your own unique mark on the halls of Troy. Like the classes before you, you have seen and led several firsts, including among your membership the founder of the first student-run coffee shop, boasted the best of the best in a broad array of athletic and activity programs, won state and national competitions, bringing recognition not only to yourselves, but to your school and your family. You have been leaders and role models for the underclassmen and leave a legacy of excellence for the generations to come. A group of you began this journey with me long before your freshman year, as I was blessed to receive you as 6th graders at Eisenhower Middle School. During those 3 years, I challenged you to reach the next milestone, one I remember telling you that you had to earn. And here you are. I am proud of the graduates of Topeka High School and very proud of that small group of students. To the entire class of 2020, your leadership in valuing the tradition and diversity that is Topeka High will ensure that our school and our staff respect and value both sides of every issue, remembering that it is our differences that make us stronger. I challenge you to make the world you are entering a better place. You certainly have shown that ability as Trojans.
On behalf of myself and the Division III team of Mrs. Autumn Wyand, Miss Jalen Beatty, and Mrs. Maria Denny, congratulations, Division III seniors.
As an acknowledgement of the virtual conferring of diplomas today, I would like to again recognize those who would have been on the stage with you. The members of our Topeka Public Schools Board of Education, recognized by Dr. Scott Mickelson earlier. Our Superintendent, Dr. Tiffany Anderson. Associate Principal, Mr. Rodney Johnson. Topeka High School Division Principals and their teams, which include your academic counselors. And most importantly, the teachers and staff who have walked alongside you during these past 4 years to help you reach this day. I am so proud of them, and I know that they are equally proud of each of you. And now, wherever you are watching this video, will the Topeka High School class of 2020 please rise? Dr. Anderson, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Topeka Public Schools Board of Education, I hereby recognize these students who have met the requirements set forth by the Kansas State Department of Education, the Topeka Public School District 501 Board of Education, and the faculty and administration of Topeka High School. I request that these students be granted all rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. I am honored to present for the conferring of diplomas, the class of 2020.
On behalf of myself and the Division IV team of Ms. Heather Prothy, Mr. Greg Fallon, and Mrs. Maria Denny, congratulations, Division IV students.
No matter what the future holds, whether you begin a career or move on to wear the crimson and blue of KU, the purple of K-State, the gold and black of Wichita State, the blue and white of our own Washburn University, or the colors of another post-secondary institution, you may always wear with pride the gold and black of the Trojans of Topeka High School. And now, as a symbol of your graduation, would you please move your tassel from the right to the left side of your mortar boards? Congratulations, class of 2020. You are now alumni of Topeka High School. At this time, we're going to ask the madrigals to please come forward virtually for the singing of the school song and the traditional throwing of the mortar boards at its conclusion. The symbolic throwing of the mortar boards is also the end of today's ceremony. Congratulations again to our graduates and their friends and families.
Trojans, will you please take off your hat and get ready to throw it in the air. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Madrigals, the virtual stage is now yours, and graduates, throw that mortarboard.
A song for the land where the sunflowers bloom. Hail to a city so fair, and 3 times 3 with the cis-boom for the high school whose colors we wear. For we are the students of the THS. Sing we the tributes that our hearts confess. As ever we glory in thy proud success. Hail to the black and gold flag.